Nearly half of Gen Xers say they don't feel confident that they can retire how and when they want. Between rising costs and aging parents and kids who may still be at home, that is no surprise. So what can they do to try to get on track to be able to retire how and when they want? Here with some practical advice is money and business expert Derrick Kinney. Derrick, thanks so much for being with us today again. Gen Xers' ears may be perking up out there since this is just for them. Many of them, again, saying that they don't feel confident about retirement. Why are so many people in their 40s and 50s feeling like that?
Well, it's the classic sandwich generation. They've got people worried about their aging parents, and at the same time, they have kids at home that they're hoping they have enough money to pay for college, and they're squeezed in between. Right now, we know that about 50% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and that means that for most people, the stress financially is at an all-time high. It's no wonder they feel nervous, anxious, and worried right now.
All right, so they're getting it from both ends there. You call this the sandwich generation. What kind of pressure does that put on a Gen Xer's finances, and how do they manage that better?
Well, it puts a tremendous amount of pressure. And again, this is very common. So if you're in this situation, you're not alone. Keep in mind, though, so many people will focus on how do I then take care of my aging parents and also put my kids through college. Ultimately, no one is going to give you a retirement loan. This is where you have to make some tough choices. So I encourage people to have what I like to call profitable conversations. And that is, let's talk openly about mom and dad. Let's talk about financially, where are you and how can you provide for yourself, and what family members can provide, either time or money or both. And then talk to your kids, the generation below you, and have that realistic discussion about here's how much we can afford for college and plan accordingly. That way there's no shock and awe. Everybody has an orderly plan. And that's the way where you take some of the chaos out of a very frustrating financial situation.
And Derrick, I like it that you just gave those Gen Xers a line, some ammunition here to say, nobody is giving me a retirement loan. I like that line. All right, for somebody who is Gen X, who has not saved enough, or they feel like they're just not going to have enough to get there for their own retirement, what steps do you advise that they take right now to sort of catch up?
Well, just like you go to the doctor, if you had a medical injury, the doctor runs an x-ray to see where the problem is and then recommends things that you can do to help solve that. The same attention is deserved of your finances. So do a financial x-ray on yourself and figure out, here's where I stand right now, my debt minus what I own, all of those things, so you know where you stand. And then the question is, if you're not in a good financial position, you've got a couple choices to make. Number one, can you get a raise where you're at by adding more value to the company? And again, it's harder than ever because of some of the job cuts we're seeing right now. Does it make sense to take on a new job or possibly launch a side hustle? The key is right now knowing how much you need to save, but also don't think you have to retire at 65. More and more research is telling us people are retiring longer to stay engaged and to stay mentally active. So there are some options, even if you feel behind right now.
All right, Derrick, let's finish with this. What is one mistake that you see Gen Xers possibly making that they should avoid, though, if they are trying to retire on their own terms, you know, that how and when they want, as we were talking about a few minutes ago?
I call this the Las Vegas mistake. It's when you're down and out, you're on your last dollar, and you bet it all, hoping you hit the jackpot. Now, for most people, it's more than $1, but oftentimes people take more risk than they're realistically comfortable with, and it causes them to possibly lose even more and lose more ground. The key right now is don't do anything dramatic or drastic. Have the conversations, bring in your family if need be, and get a sense of a game plan. Even if you have to postpone retirement a bit, the goal is to stop the generation problems in front of you and not give this to your kids and make generations after really struggle financially. You really have a moment to be a hero here if you're calm and cool, even when there's low cash.
All right, Derrick, I hope you've given some calm and cool to a lot of Gen Xers out there who, again, are in that sandwich generation and feel like they're getting squeezed right now. Really appreciate you taking the time and walking us through that.